What's going on, guys? Don Marino here. Today I got Tech News Week 2 coming at you. Um, I wanted to talk real quick. Last week missed a video because I was upgrading the computer, but we should be back on a regular schedule. I know it was like first week and then I missed a week, so it was like, but I wanted to, upgrade the computer, get it better for editing, better for the streaming stuff I do. So I did that. I will have a video coming out on that. And if there's any stories you guys really want to see, I'll have everything timestamped down below. That way you guys can jump around. This is going to be kind of a longer video because of CES and all the news that came out. So stay tuned. Watch the whole thing if you want to. If not, go down there and skip around to whatever you want to see. So the first thing I really wanted to talk about was AMD and CES. AMD announced their 64-core Threadripper at CES, which is gonna be a game changer, supposedly. They're advertising it with a 4.3 max boost clock and a 288 megabyte of cache, which is crazy because, obviously this is a Threadripper and it's supposed to be, top of the line. It's supposed to be something that's just gonna be crazy for editing. It's gonna be crazy, like top notch for, really high intensive computing. The craziest thing about this is that it's going on sale February 7th, so very soon from when they announced it, for $4,000, right below $4,000. And it's comparing to, a processor that is $20,000. So we're getting this huge discrepancy in price. Yet again, AMD coming in and shaking the game up, showing Intel that they're not dominant anymore, showing Intel that they need to catch up, that they're the ones getting their backs pushed into a corner. This is going to be on 10 nanometer architecture. It is very interesting to me that they came in and did this, and that the Threadripper is going to be a $4,000 processor with 64 cores, and they are advertising a 4.3 max boost clock. I think this thing is going to be great. It's going to be great for anyone doing crazy high-end video editing with 4K, 8K, with red cameras. This is going to be a big game changer. Alright, so keeping it in the theme of CES, Asus announced their ROG Swift 360, like crazy high refresh rate monitor. And this is awesome. This is really cool to see because they're pushing the boundaries. They're pushing it farther than we've seen before. 240 was kind of like the ceiling cap before. There was nothing higher that you can get in the mainstream, and now they're introducing this 360 hertz monitor, and I think that's great. I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to push what other people have to do, and I think it's also going to bring down prices of something like 140 hertz monitor or even the 240 hertz. So I think this is really good for gamers. I think it's really good for tech. And I think this is really awesome that we're finally starting to see something such high refresh rate. And also, I'm wondering where they're going to stop. Because 360 has got to be crazy. It's got to be like, where's the difference from 240 to 360 and what's next? 480? Like, where are we going to stop seeing the difference in benefits of going higher and higher refresh rate? So keeping it in the theme of high refresh rate, OnePlus announced that their next flagship smartphone is going to be jumping into the world of 120 hertz. They're definitely trying to catch up to other phones that are doing this, and I think that we went from that 60 hertz to 90 hertz jump recently. A lot of smartphones were starting to do the 90, and I think 120 is going to become the minimum by the end of this year, or maybe going into next year, because looking at a phone that has 60, like probably your iPhone or Samsung that you're using now, and going up to 120, just scrolling through normal tasks, even like Instagram or Twitter, the scrolling looks so much smoother, and it's a whole different experience, and it's really what phones have been lacking. We've been seeing this giant upgrade in cameras, and now we're finally starting to get into the battery life upgrades, but the next really is going to be that screen. The screens can't look much better. They are small, and they're packing really good screens. Now it's time to make them high refresh rate. So speaking of displays, we recently saw a lot of 8K installations at CES, and it really seems like it's just not worth it yet, because we're already having the problem with 4K, and we're like, games are caught up in 4K. We can play, games in 4K. There's some movies on 4K, but that's it. That's where the line kind of ends. You know, Netflix and other streaming services are introducing 4K like exclusive content. Usually, it's exclusive content that they're filming in or coming out with in 4K. However, if you're still using cable TV or any type of normal streaming service, most of the time that 4K is not going to be available. Now with 8K coming out, you're almost leapfrogging yourself, and you're doing it in a way that's like, why are you doing this? Where are you going to get the 8K content? You know, they might show this really amazing scenery when introducing this. They might show this really cool, as you can see here, this really cool like crazy forest shot. I'm sure they show this at CES and people are like, this is crazy, this looks amazing, and it probably does because it's 8K. Now the amount of 8K footage you're going to find in the real world, that is yet to be determined, and I don't think there's going to be much because it's already kind of a struggle finding 4K. And you know, the only way you're playing 4K is DVD that is on 4K, or you've downloaded something that's specifically 4K, or you're playing a game. And most of the time when you're playing a game, it's not going to be on a big 80-inch or 60-inch TV. It's probably going to be on a monitor. It's probably going to be on a 4K monitor, condensed down. And you know, 4K was already expensive. 8K is about to jump the gun on the price, and I don't think it's going to take hold. I think it's going to be like some of the things we've seen in the past that just don't take hold because, one, they're either too far ahead of their time because there's just not the support for 8K yet, and I don't think the support's going to be there for a while. Or two, they're just going to be completely overpriced and people just aren't going to want to go out and dish out the money when you're probably better off spending it on OLED technology versus 8K. Alright, so finally the last thing I wanted to talk about from CES was Sony and their big surprise with their car. They surprise everyone with they're calling it their futuristic prototype electric car that realistically, I mean, great. They're jumping into the car market. Sony is jumping into the car market. I don't see why or where. I don't know. We'll see how that works out for them. What everyone really wanted was the PS5, and they gave us the PS5 logo, which I don't know. They must have expected people to be happy and excited over that, but people were just like, all right, what about news on the console? What about what it's going to look like? Nothing. So Sony is planning on skipping E3 again this year, which is in June. So I'm really kind of wondering what their plan is on announcing the console, whether they're going to have their own standalone conference and announce it, because I'm guessing they're going to announce it before June 11th, before E3. I would guess that they're going to announce it sometime in March, May, early May. We'll see, yet to be determined, but kind of disappointing from Sony for them to come out with a car, and when people really want the PS5 from them, I think honestly that console will make them more money than the car will make them, which is crazy because they are trying to convert into a market that they have no foothold in, and the car is nothing special. Even the concept, usually concepts are like crazy cool, and it's like, wow, like you're gonna do cutting edge things, and the concept, it's just not that great. Looks wise, it's not that great, you know. So we'll see. Alright, so the final story is something that just broke today on Tuesday, and that's that the NSA has reported to Windows that there's a major security flaw in the operating system. So I'll read straight from the CNET article real quick so you can understand. Instead of keeping a potential hacking resource to itself, the U.S. National Security Agency, or NSA, alerted Microsoft to a serious security flaw in the Windows operating system that could open computers to major breaches of surveillance. The NSA said that the flaw is severe and the hackers will understand very quickly how to exploit it. So this is big because the NSA came down publicly to Microsoft and said, hey, look, you got this flaw in your security system. you need to patch it. This is a big deal. So for them to come to Microsoft and tell them they have a big deal, like you need to throw out a patch immediately type deal, must have been a pretty big security risk. So if you're running Windows and you're watching this and you haven't updated your computer and you're on Windows 10, make sure to do it. Make sure to go on there, update it real quick. Make sure whatever Windows threw out for you has got you nice and secure. I thought this was pretty crazy. Usually the NSA keeps a lot of things, close to the chest because of the nature of their whole entire operation is very secretive and it needs to kind of be kept that way. That way some of their assets are not vulnerable to, the public knowing. But it was good on them to come to Microsoft and tell them about this. That way Microsoft now can fix the problem, and for the millions of people that use their computers can be a little bit safer, which I thought was crazy. So that was the last story for the day, guys. I really appreciate you watching the video. These videos are really fun for me to make because I get to really dive in, really look at what interests me and, news and technology. And it's really fun to be able to keep up to date and understand like the changing of the tides, in what we have going on, and keep you guys up to date and make these videos for you. So if you guys liked the video, I really appreciate you guys giving it a thumbs up, going down there, subscribing. It means a lot to me. And until I got something else for you guys, thanks for watching.